Hi everybody, welcome to the report. My name is lee-honish. Today, Steve Hawks from last year's Monster Marketing Summit. I'm coming to you today from Las Vegas, Nevada, getting ready at a Starbucks, doing all the final last-minute preparations for the Golden Nugget 7th Annual Monster Marketing Summit, so I apologize for all the noise in the background. Okay, so here's what's going on. This Saturday, 9 a.m., Monster Marketing Summit. You can go to monstermarketingsummit.com, type in offer code MONSTER2017, MONSTER 2017, right? That's all you got to do. Go to monstermarketingsummit.com, click on code, type in MONSTER2017. Because you listen to this podcast, my sponsors will actually pay for your ticket to come to the event next week. So without further delay, here is Steve Hawks, one of the top realtors in Las Vegas and in the United States, speaking at my event last year. Enjoy.
Because there's a lot of info right there. You know, I wanted to share a little, before we invite Steve up here, I wanted to share a little bit about my Facebook post this morning. And it said, marketing is a natural high for me. Making my phone ring is addicting. Figuring out the best way to get the highest quality lead for the least amount of money is a self-admitted obsession. Teaching others how to do this is an honor. Getting referrals is my middle name. Here's a guy coming up right now who knows a little bit about marketing and getting referrals. Steve Hawks, he's the #1 realtor in Las Vegas and Nevada. Welcome, Steve.
People in the back want to move up a little bit. I have a little sore throat here, so I'm not going to be talking loud today.
You can put it here.
So everybody remember how the year started out? The worst start of the stock market since the Great Depression, since 1933. It was the worst ever, right? And all of a sudden, what happened? It came back up. Amazing, huh? All those jobs creation and all that? Huh? It's amazing. So it's really important to know, because people want to know what the heck is going on. That's a joke, right? So how could something change so drastically, so quickly? You had the worst, and the quarter ended up, it was the greatest quarterly comeback in the history of the stock market since 1933, which is basically the history.
Janet Yellen blinked.
So what happened? Yeah, we're gonna be able to predict exactly what's, not predict, but because we don't know exactly what's going on, but we know now. Unfortunately, we're not insiders. And that's why real estate is so important these days, because it's the only thing left where people can actually invest in something that's transparent, where we know what's going on. We have, especially in real estate, we have the inside information that they're trading on in the stock market. Well, here's what happened. And right now, obviously, when this was going on, people like us didn't have the information. But all the traders, all the insiders, they had the information, and that's why they made hundreds of millions of dollars in about 15 to 30 days. And this right here is public information. It's Janet Yellen's daily schedule. And the bottom of this, of the worst start to the year since 1930, the bottom is February 11th. Okay? So if you go back on the chart, you'll see the last quarter chart. You'll see February 11th, and after that, it spiked. Well, it's even better. The spike started about 40 minutes after Janet Yellen made a phone call. She made a phone call to the governor, Mark Carney, who's the Bank of England. He's like the head of the Bank of England. At 2:40 p.m., she made a phone call. 40 minutes after that call, that was the bottom. It started spiking back up again. Well, also Mark Carney was a former Goldman Sachs employee. The next day, at 11 a.m. to 11:40 a.m., her phone call was with Mario Draghi, also a Goldman Sachs employee. The next day, that day, on February 12th, is when it shot back up like crazy. That's when it started going back like, whoa, everybody's going, what's going on? So we're following the market, we're like, why is this, what's going on here? So at the time, you don't know what's going on. It's like, wow, where did all this come from? Well, the central banks are now buying stocks. Okay, they're now printing money. They've gone full tilt. They've gone crazy now. They're not. It's called the plunge protection team. You guys can all Google this. The central banks are now buying S&P 500. Japan finally admitted it. The EU is now investing in S&P, and the United States invests through Citadel. Citadel is a hedge fund that buys the S&P for the Federal Reserve. So now they are at the last stages of the plunge protection. So anytime the stock market drops now, this is their program to protect it from falling. And the reason why that's important is because they've lost control. They've lost complete control of what's going on. And now we're going to, the reason why that's important is because the elderly, a lot of people want to invest. The stock market was a great source of wealth. Okay, we used to be able to pick stocks based on fundamentals, but fundamentals no longer exist in the stock market. All you do is you go with what Janet Yellen does. If they're going to print money and buy stocks, buy it. Doesn't matter. I mean, look at these stocks. There's 41 stocks right now that are worth over $1 billion on the NASDAQ that have never made a dime. Okay? So the fundamentals are worthless. We see Netflix and we see all these other places not making money. It's because there's so much cash chasing such little inventory. And we're starting to see this in the real estate market. These prices are going through the roof where the average person cannot afford a home again, even with these ultra low rates. One of the reasons why we're seeing that is China. China has had a huge impact on real estate lately. In fact, in Vegas, about 30% of all the cash buyers are from China. And when people, we say Chinese, we're talking about China mainland money. And they're in a panic right now. 63% of all the millionaires in China are either getting the money out or they've already gotten the money out. And China's a disaster. Nobody wants to live there that doesn't make money because it's a complete disaster.
You know, I'm doing a loan for a Homeland Security people right now, and their number one concern is not Hispanics coming in, it's the Chinese.
Yeah.
And
they're destroying the homeowner. They're destroying homeownership because they're bringing in corrupt money from China. China's, well, we'll go back. I get ahead of myself because it's such a joke, but it's so ridiculous. We've actually hired two Chinese-speaking agents because it's such a big part of the business now in Vegas. And if you looked at the numbers, the real estate numbers, I think it was in Bloomberg, that the West Coast real estate prices went up last quarter, and the top reason for that was the Chinese mainlanders buying properties. So does everybody know what they did in Vancouver?
Yeah, stop allowing them to buy.
Yeah, they destroyed Vancouver. All this corrupt money coming in from China. When I say corrupt money, to give you an idea, the United States has printed $4 trillion the last 5-6 years. Guess how much China's printed? $14 trillion, equivalent to $14 trillion. That's why they're out around the world buying hard assets. Over 100 trillion won has been printed after you do the calculations. It comes out to about $14 trillion. And if you see what they're doing on the, it's actually, and if you see what they did in Vancouver, the average house in Vancouver now is $968,000. Okay, so even the top 1% Canadians can't afford a house in Vancouver now. And with Canada, too little, too late. What they did is last March, they had a program where you could come in with $500,000 and buy real estate, and you become like a pseudo-citizen, like a Visa card or whatever. Well, they stopped that. They canceled 47,000 applications. So they are not allowing the program anymore, but the Chinese that are already there from mainland, they can continue buying. So it didn't really do much. But what it's done is it's caused an overflow for China to start buying U.S. properties. And the reason why it's having a huge impact now, before China was just concentrating on Seattle, San Francisco, San Diego, the coast cities on the east and west coast, and Vegas and Houston were two cities that they were concentrating on that weren't on the coast. Now they're hitting everywhere because they have so much money they got to get it out of there because they printed it. Now they're going to Milwaukee, the Bronx, you see it everywhere. And San Francisco is higher now than it was in 2005 because of the Chinese. The tech bubble hasn't really is contributed to it, but the main factor is the China cash buyers they're doing. In fact, Newport Beach, Orange County, along the coast, they're putting in. And the reason why that China uses this is similar. People say this is similar to what happened in Japan did in the late 80s, early 90s. But it's the China investor doesn't care if they make money. They just want to get their money out. That's why they're overpaying for stuff and they don't care. If the value goes down 20 or 30% or 50, even 50%, they don't care because they got their money. In China, they'll probably lose it. It's going to take away. If you make a certain amount, they'll take it. And if you're not connected with the government, they'll take it. So they don't care. That's why these property values are going through the roof. And does everybody know what's so special about American real estate to foreign investors? Anybody? This is the new Switzerland. Because American real estate is exempt from money laundering laws. So when the people come in, when the Chinese come in, or the Japanese or Brazilians in Miami, when they come in with their cash, they don't have to source it. So they can buy anything they want. They don't have to source the funds. So once they sell that property, then it's clean money. So, and that's been like that since 2002. NAR got it pushed through, not thinking of the repercussions. But if someone's getting a loan, an American is getting a loan, they got to source the funds. But the Chinese who come in with their corrupt money that the government's been printed can come in and swipe out homes. Another big difference between Japan and China back in the early 90s, Japan didn't buy any residential properties, right? China's loading up on residential properties, and a lot of these hedge funds are buying for China mainland money. Also, when someone goes, well, how much does, like in Irvine, there was a report that 75% of all the new homes are what? China cash buyers.
91.
Oh, 91%.
91% of all transactions around last year were done by Chinese buyers.
Okay, there you go, 91% in Irvine by China cash buyers. And when somebody asks, well, how much have they really bought? Nobody can answer that question because all they do is open up American LLCs with American names because it's cash. You don't have to source it. And so that's why China is having such a big impact. And why are they in a panic? And why is this going to accelerate? First of all, we all agree that our politicians are the stupidest people around. Okay, the most corrupt because they're allowing this to happen. They know this is happening. All they care about is the prices to go up. Why they want the prices to go up? They don't care about home ownership. Don't kid yourself. They could care less about home ownership. There you go. All they care about is property taxes. The higher the property value, the higher the taxes. All we got to do is look at proof. We have some of the lowest home ownership since 1968. And all they're doing is talking about how great the housing recovery is. It's BS. All it is the prices have gone up, and long term this is going to hurt. But how many people, if you have a first time home buyer, entry level, can get a house in their market? Right? Who owns them all? The investors. Right? In almost every entry level market, where these investors come from. A lot of this Chinese money that's been hidden through the hedge funds, and because of the money laundering laws are exempt. And now we're paying the price. Everyone has been talking about great how the prices have gone up, and but the housing recovery hasn't been a housing recovery for the average person, right? The investors and then the high-end people that have taken advantage of the stock market gains, or the foreign buyers that have come to hide their money. How big of an impact has it been? Well, let's look at New York and Miami. Did anybody see what the Wall Street Journal 2 days ago? It said Miami condo bust looming again. That's right. And also New York. You know why? Anybody know why? All of a sudden in 60 days, what happened 90 days ago? No, yeah, but that's not the reason why though. Well, 90 days ago, the feds, after that $60 million unit was sold in Miami. Oh, by the way, the article said that it's similar to 2005 now. Projects are being canceled. Cancellations are going through the roof, like 75% cancellation rate or similar to that. But the projects are now being canceled. It's not even 90 days from when the feds finally said, whoa, wait a minute. Who's paying $60 million for that unit? Where's that money coming from? It just hit the fan. Because now they're exempt from money laundering laws, but it doesn't mean they can bring in, being exempt from law does not mean you can break the law. It just doesn't mean you have to show proof. So now the feds are going, hey, Miami, New York, we're going to want to know where all this money is coming from. It's not even 90.